93.5, I'm nowcast meteorologist Christopher Collin.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuned into Chat City with P. Ross. Conversations and interviews are in the queue. Listen or join in. Here she is, P. Ross.
Greetings, 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 everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Chat City with P. Ross once again. I am excited and delighted to have with me in the studio today, Valedictorian, Stephen Ross, and his lovely mother, who is an educator, Miss Deshan Jackson. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to have the opportunity to speak with you today.
All right, great. All right, but before we get into who Stephen is and him being a valedictorian this year for 2023,
yes,
let's talk about the 4th of July. we just had 4th of July, Independence Day this past week, and man, I tell you something, I mean, it was smoking hot out there.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys celebrate 4th of July this year?
we relaxed. I just threw some steaks on the grill for my family and watched TV. He actually had some schoolwork that he was doing. He's in a Sand Hill summer class, so he was busy during the day.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't do much. I just, I did go to Aberdeen Lake in Aberdeen, North Carolina, but I didn't go at nighttime to watch the fireworks. I went out there during the daytime just to see what the setup was going to be out there, you know, and just kind of mingled around. But it smoking hot, man. It was smoking hot. I was like, I need to get back in my car and go back home.
Yes.
Because it's too hot out here for me. But, yeah. But overall, you know, I saw where a lot of people was having fun. Now, somebody on my street decided they want to start shooting fireworks at 12 a.m.
Oh, how long did that last?
Till 12:30 a.m. And I'm like, really? You got to get those last little fireworks out, don't you? Yeah, so I did get to hear fireworks, and I didn't see any, but I certainly heard them.
Heard it.
Heard them. Yes. All right. Like I said earlier, it is smoking hot. Right now, the temperature is 91 degrees, smoking hot. I just want to encourage everybody to do what you got to do to stay cool, stay hydrated most of all. I would say maybe don't indulge in sugary drinks, but just water, you know, just water, ice chips or something other than the sugary drinks. What ideas do you two have to stay cool in this hot weather?
Besides staying in the house.
If you have to be outdoors.
Drinking lots of water.
Yes.
Yeah, and having personal fans that you can wear. And they make those like bandanas that you put in the cold water. You put around your neck and it helps you stay cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know about those.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see when I have to get you one.
All right. Hey, I'm for it. I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Yeah. So, all right. One of the topics I wanted to discuss before we got into Stephen today is teen gun violence. And I'm going to tell you why I wanted to just touch on this subject today. It just touched my heart when I heard about the mass shooting in Maryland, in Baltimore, Maryland, a few days ago. The reason why it touched my heart so much is because I actually have family in that area. And, of course, anytime I hear anything about that area, I'm always wondering, are my nieces and nephews okay? Are, you know, my sisters okay? Is my brother okay? You know? Who did this happen to? And I don't like to speak much on my family, but we did have some tragic things happen recently in my family in those areas.
Sorry to hear
So
that.
that's, thank you. So that's why I'm always concerned. But when I heard that at this was there were a lot of teens at this party that were injured. I mean, actually, there were 30 people that were shot. 2 people died. And then out of all of those victims that suffered everybody there, 30 people there suffered gunshot wounds. And I'm told that was everybody, from what I read. People that suffered those wounds were from ages 13 to 32.
Wow.
And 15 of those people were younger than age 18. And if I read what I read correctly, and if I heard correctly, the people responsible for this mass shooting were teenagers.
Wow.
Did you hear any of this story?
No, I have not heard.
Okay,
that
and I'm
one.
sorry to bring
No.
such a,
No,
and I'm
it's okay,
always
yeah.
touching on these when I hear these type things, because my question is, what is the solution? What are we going to do to fix it? So you may hear me talk about this often on the show whenever I hear about it, but I mean, my idea is, again, I'm going to say stricter gun laws need to be put in place. I do believe President Biden is working on that with Congress, from what I understand, but I believe also that we need to monitor what we're putting in the eyesight of our children.
You got it.
Because children and people like to mimic what they see.
Yeah, and it could be through music, through video games, through the videos and movies that they're watching. So yeah.
Yeah. So I really believe we need to take another look at this and see what we could do to fix this problem. I'm not going to say it's going to get corrected today, tomorrow, next year. But we need to come up with something better than what we're doing. What do you have to say about that, Deshan?
So with that being said, I teach driver's ed for our family business back in Pinehurst as well. But one statement that I always make to the students, and it might be every day, is that the choices that you make will not only affect your life, but it will affect the lives of others. So you have to consider whatever choice that they're deciding upon doing, that is going to change their outlook. It's going to change someone else's outlook, and it's like a snowball effect. It just builds and just continues to grow and get larger. So just that one thought concept of, okay, you've made me mad, let me grab this gun. That's how we're going to end it. That's how we're going to solve it. But it's that choice, and it's changing your life and as well as the others.
Right. I agree with that, and I want to apply to get that house applause on that one. Yeah, I feel like adults got to be more accountable for what
Yes,
their children
ma'am.
are doing. I mean, I've heard different stories, seen different stories. A lot of times, my question is, where are these young people getting these firearms? I know of a couple of stories where the kids just find them in the house, and the parents think they've hidden them well. When as children, how we were as kids. I mean, we were just always exploring the house and come across something. Oh, what is this?
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing: we knew what to touch, what not to touch. Yeah.
So you think parents need to be more responsible about?
But it always comes down to that parent's responsibility of, like you said, securing the firearms and things, but also having the understanding of what truly happens when this firearm is shot. It's not a video game where you press a button, the game is reset, and everybody's back to normal.
Right.
That's an actual choice that is going to change someone's life, could potentially end it. It's not a video game.
I know there are parents that actually show their children how to use a firearm. What do you think about that?
Well, one thing about me, I'm an honest person. I can be very blunt. But, growing up in the country, our family understood gun safety and, which part to touch, which part that will control it, that type of situation. And, I'm all about teaching safety of, the firearms or anything of that nature. But it's just a matter of education, educating. This is what truly happens. It's not like that video game that you just played. It's educating, and it goes back to the parents and making sure that they're teaching the proper things and that responsibility. And also just make sure that firearm is secure.
Yeah, gun deaths among U.S. children and teens rose 50% between 2019 and 2021, according to the Pew Research Center, who's affiliated with the CDC, the Center of Disease and Control, Center of Disease Control and Prevention. So, I mean, wow, that's on the rise there. That's been on the rise, and
and I can kind of see that with the way the world went with COVID. A lot of that mental stability was challenged, and it it was a true test of families and your ability to kind of bounce back, I guess you can say. And we're still recovering from that time frame. But I feel that really tested a lot of students and children, having to be secluded. I mean, I'm thankful that, that we didn't have any fatalities within our family or anything. Did have a few, family members that had COVID, but I'm thankful of the outcome of it as far as my family goes. But I really do feel that had a challenge on families and their mental stability and being able to bounce back.
Now, I did see a video that was centered around this tragedy in Baltimore, Maryland. And this particular person that was speaking on this video said that this was black on black crime. And this was a black person that spoke out on this and said, hey, we need to do something about this. This is our community. What are we going to do to change? Again, I have my ideas, and I've said them many times on this show, and again, it's about, the things that we just mentioned. Is there anything else that you think we should speak on? And for those that are listening and can't see us,
Right.
Deshan Jackson is African American. I'm African American, and her son is African American. What do you think about that, Deshan? Black on black crime.
So it's more than just going out saying we need to do something. So it's just putting a plan in place and carrying through and finding individuals that's going to support that effort and continuing on, even if it's just one or two people that's in that event. Okay, you've touched that life of one or two people, and then they need to go out and push it and let it grow. Even if it's just one person, don't let it get you down. You just have to continue to push forward, move forward, and find other ways of supporting the community.
Stephen, do you have any words for this topic at this moment?
This has just got to stop. I mean, like, we're losing friends, family members, teachers. It just got to stop.
It's got to stop. Amen. We're done. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross on 93.5 FM WRLY Raleigh. I'm excited to have with me today as my very special guest, Mr. Stephen Ross, who is a valedictorian for 2023 at his school, and Miss Deshan Jackson, his mother, who is an educator. All right. Let's get into Stephen now. Stephen, man, I tell you, I'm just going to give you another applause, man.
Thank you.
I mean, and just to give you some background, I do know Stephen and his mom. We're like circled in around the same family. But Stephen, I have not seen in a long, long time, but have been following his story on Facebook through his mother. And man, it just did my heart some good when I saw him walk across that stage with that gold pendant around his neck, his sunglasses on, and his fingers pointing out, Hey, like, I did this, man. I did this. Yeah. So Stephen is a 2023 graduate of, tell me your school.
It was Connect Virtual Academy, but my home high school is Pinecrest High School.
Amen. That is the greatest school in the land. Yeah, Pinecrest High School is in Southern Pines. I'm a graduate. Deshan is a graduate. Yeah. And I want to just, again, say thank you, too, for coming up to Raleigh today and speak with me on this. I thought Stephen was well deserving of hearing, us hearing his story. Stephen.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got valedictorian.
Well, it was just basically hard work, In all honesty, being valedictorian was at the back of my mind when I first got to high school. If I did get it, great. If not, then the most important thing is that I got my diploma and I can move on to the next chapter of my life. But I never saw this coming.
Never saw it coming. So you didn't sit out and say, okay, like when you got into high school, okay, you didn't say, okay, I'm going to purpose to be valedictorian. It just happened for you.
I never saw it coming.
Saw it coming.
I was just happy, academically I had the best teachers, and then I had mom for additional help for like research projects, essays. And then socially, I had like a ton of friends. I can't tell you a number, but it's more than 10. So I was happy both academically and socially because, you know, I got to do what I do along with my best friends who basically gave me that extra support that I needed. Although like my family bears the brunt of the support I get, but then my friends, they could just give me that little extra kick. Well, actually, they gave me a lot of extra kicks. So
it's good to have those good friends in your corner, right? Yeah. So the day that you found out you were valedictorian, who told you and what was your response?
I think it started with Mom, and then I was like, wow. I couldn't believe it.
So how did Mom approach you? Were you at home or were you at school when this happened?
I was at home working hard on my coursework for St. Hills. By the time I had received that notification, I had already finished my Pinecrest classes, and then I was already in St. Hills full time. So.
Okay. And what was your response? How did you feel when Mom said you're valedictorian?
I was not expecting that. I mean, but hard work pays off, I guess.
Yeah. Can you tell me your emotions? Were you happy? Surprised?
I was quite honored for. I mean, being valedictorian is a huge honor. It's a big deal.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So for those that just may not know what a valedictorian is, because I didn't know for a long, long time. I mean, I do in high school, but a valedictorian is an academic title for the highest performing student of a graduating class of an academic institution. That's what a valedictorian is. Very high achievement. All right. Mom, tell us about that moment when you found out Stephen was had achieved this.
So it's a little bit of a backstory,
okay,
with that. So at first he was notified that he was salutatorian, which is the second highest GPA. So he had his senior brunch and he had his salutatorian speech. And shortly thereafter, we were notified that he was actually the valedictorian. So it was a little bit of a roller coaster ride, I guess you can say. And they said human error is why he was told that he was salutatorian, and then they had to turn around and fix it to ensure that he was noted as valedictorian. So as far as how I felt, I cried. So even whenever he was told that he was salutatorian, it was tears of joy. And whenever he was notified through email, we were both excited. And this was the first graduating class of Connect Virtual Academy. So Connect Virtual Academy was established. You want to tell them how it was established?
So basically, Connect Virtual Academy was established during the lockdown of COVID-19 as a alternative way of learning to those who didn't want to go back to the classroom. So I took that route, and that's how I became valedictorian. In all honesty, I did hate it a little bit because I do miss my friends. Like I said earlier, these were very, very good friends. I've even known some of them for close to 10, 15 years. So they gave me extra motivation. Academically, I got to work with them in some projects in 8th grade. I did go on basketball team in 8th grade, and some of them came to my games, and I was blessed to have extra good friends for when I'm away from family.
Oh yeah. You know what? To be honest, when I got up to go to school every morning, like around high school, it was for my friends. I wasn't even thinking about the books, honestly. And that shouldn't be the case, but. Yeah, it's something special when you can find those perfect people to enjoy life with. Yeah.
So when it was virtual, it was all on his shoulders because I was at work, and I would get off work and I had a part-time job, and at the part-time job then try to sit with him to make sure he had everything completed like he needed to. But all of that was all on his shoulders of understanding, and he taught himself a lot of information, but he did have some amazing instructors through Pinecrest, through the Connect Virtual piece, and through Sandhills as well. But a lot of that virtual piece was on him. He was at home with my parents, but they're knocking on Nady's door, thank God. But they weren't able to supply a lot of support, so all of that had to come through himself.
That's good. I just want to applaud you, Stephen, again for bearing that weight at home all by yourself there. Yeah. Okay, so Stephen, your cousin Aaron Jackson was here on the show a couple of times here. Entrepreneur, actor, and he had some very nice things to say about you. And I don't think he was just saying it because you were his cousin. You are his cousin. I think he was saying it because he was speaking from the heart and felt like he needed to. And I saw that his statement on Facebook, actually, I think on your mom's page. So I want to just give a shout out to Aaron, first of all, if you're listening. Aaron. But in addition to your friends, you have a great family support system, as you mentioned. And I know a majority of your family members. You come from a rich heritage of educators, man. I'm like, I don't think, I don't. You know what? I was actually feeling a little nervous coming in here today because when you're sitting among smart people, not that I'm dumb, but very, very smart people, I'm like, am I pronouncing this sentence correctly? Is it was or is it were? I'm thinking very hard, to say it correctly, but I was a little nervous coming in here today, but Aaron has some really nice things to say about you, and he mentioned some challenges. He didn't give any details about any challenges for you, but he said you overcame some challenges and stuff like that. Do you care to share any of that today?
Well, that in ninth grade, that was the most hardest storm that I have ever weathered. So I had scoliosis, which basically an irregular curve in your spine. That I was diagnosed in first grade, and I've been wearing back braces, which could be a little uncomfortable. But occasionally, I had some free nights to sleep without them, and then as soon as I heard the word surgery, I broke down in tears. Like, no. I knew about surgery. The pain, the recovery process, it could be prolonged. So, but then again, but the doctor said regarding the timing. Like, do you want to get it done after you graduate 8th grade and then Pinecrest, where you got a little time in, or do you want to go at it after completely first semester and then do it? So then we decided, get first semester in, and then you'll recover second semester, which I think we timed it absolutely correctly, not just academically, but socially,
And I'm going to add something, I'm sorry, but his curve was so severe that his rib cage was compressing his heart and lung. Wow. So it was the way the curve did. And, we got treatment. We had various trips to Chapel Hill working with doctors, and we went all the way to Pennsylvania for a scoliosis boot camp and various treatments that would support him in the efforts of trying not to go under the knife, because no one wants surgery,
right?
But he hit a growth spurt, and when he hit that growth spurt, his spine it really went out of line. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
So regarding like timing, I still maintained academic performance like I wanted to, but so socially, I didn't want. So the reason why I think this timed out perfectly socially is because, number one, I had little to no close friends that would know this. I didn't want to let this be, like a smack in the face. Like, I didn't know you would be gone this long, because I didn't want to, spook them out. I have one that I met in second grade that had actually made a card for me during the time I had strep throat, and then so that kind of spooked her. So I'm glad she wasn't around. But even if she was, I would have told her anyway. So I would have given her like a heads up, like, hey, this is gonna happen. This could be prolonged. I don't want you to get all riled up about it. I'm gonna be okay. So I'm glad that timing worked out perfectly. And by the time I think it was second semester, I was fully covered.
Yeah, he was out of school for about a month.
Wow.
So in the hospital for basically the entire month's time frame. They had a hard time controlling the bleeding. So we were only supposed to be in the hospital for 3 to 4 nights, but it ended up being close to a month because they could not stop the bleeding.
So how was this discovered? I mean, when I remember being in what we call middle school years ago.
Mm-hmm. They make you lean over, they look at your back at school.
They tell you to wear a bathing suit that day under your clothes, and they wanted to took you in the room, checked your spine. Was that the case for Stephen, or how did we find out about that?
So when he was in first grade, I looked at him and I was like, you know, it's like his shoulders were just a little bit off a little bit, and then I had him to do the old-fashioned way, like they did us in school. So, you know, I had him just kind of lean over and looked at his spine and, you know, brought it to his doctor's attention. And, you know, that was his doctor in Southern Pines, and she's an awesome doctor.
Dr. Robinson.
Yes.
Let's give a house applause to Dr.
Dr. Robinson.
But, you know, we went ahead and started doing like x-rays and things locally. And once it was spotted, then they sent us on to Chapel Hill, and we worked with, I forget what that doctor.
It was Naratim, and then my surgeon was Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone.
So we worked with the same doctor since he was in first grade all the way through high school. And at that beginning stage, they didn't want to consider it scoliosis because it had not hit over 22 degrees is what they were looking for. So it was just one of those monitor type situations. And you know, he was doing exercises and things, but it's just that when they hit that growth spurt and it started going out of line, and from there he started getting into back braces like he was disclosing. There was, you know, some braces that were the hard braces, and he didn't want anyone to know. He went through PE class and no one really knew it, but his instructors knew it, but he didn't want anyone to know. But those braces went from underneath his armpit down to his waistline, and it was basically a 24-hour brace. He had to stay in from the time he woke up. Only time he could take off if it was in the shower or if he was getting in the swimming pool. But besides that, he had to stay in the brace the entire time.
Wow. That's something else. So where are we now with that, Stephen?
I am scoliosis free.
All right. Well, praise the Lord on that.
I'm free.
All right.
I can now live out the rest of my childhood as I want to, because childhood doesn't last forever. So I want to take that as long as I can before I reach adulthood, and then spread my wings and fly out.
Very good. Very good. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I am your host, P. Ross. I have in the building with me today Mr. Stephen Ross, who is valedictorian at his school 2023, and his lovely mother, Deshan Jackson, who is also an educator. All right. We've been talking about Stephen going through life, dealing with a very challenging situation there, but still persevering and making it through all that after losing some time out of school and making it on to making it through high school and graduation, and even being valedictorian with a 4.33 grade point average. Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. So, let's talk about when you were told you were valedictorian. Did you know what to expect after that? What duties you had to carry after being named valedictorian?
No, not at all.
Okay. So who told you, and what did you do about it?
I think it started with mom. Like, we prepared like a speech that I gave after graduation for like a dinner with like close family friends, and then my family, and then that was it. I mean, and then I got this.
All right. So when you walked across that stage, I saw a little video clip of that, but there's a picture of you on social media, and I think your mom called it one of her favorite pictures that she took of the many.
And actually, it was one of my coworkers who was out on the field taking snapshots of different individuals, and He said, I captured the perfect shot. I want you to see it. And he sent it to me. I was like, oh, that is amazing.
I loved it.
Yes.
So what sparked you to put on the sunglasses that day, Stephen? Was it just because it was a sunny day?
Sunny day, and yeah.
You look so cool though, man. I mean, it was like...
Yeah, I guess I was getting Top Gun Maverick vibes, so then I had aviators. They were my first pair of aviators, so... They're not Ray-Bans, but I will be getting some Ray-Bans in the near future. So.
Now you had like, I don't know if this just was the way you were walking, or you had like this little point, like I'm the man,
Yeah,
you know, walking up there.
Yeah,
you had that swag. that was that planned, or did you? That
it was all planned. It was all planned.
I love it. I love it. Now, valedictorians are usually presented, I do believe, with a gold medal or some type of award. Was that what you were wearing around your neck, the valedictorian gold medal? How did you feel when that was placed around your neck, or when you received that?
It was a huge honor. And then on the way to graduation, Mom brought to my attention that not many of us were valedictorians, so I could actually show people like us and other people of color what's possible.
Yeah, yeah. Very good, man. Very good. All right. Something I failed to do was to ask you to bring your bring your speech with you today, because I wanted it to be read over the air. Do you remember any of it by any chance?
It's been quite some time since I last did the speech.
Yeah,
Okay, well, we're gonna have to.
If I have it on my phone, I don't think I do.
Well, maybe we'll invite you back another time and give you another opportunity to read that over the air. How about that? Because, like you said, you're inspiration. You're inspiration to some others who may be struggling through school. I know when I went to school, I wasn't the best student academically. But, when I look back on my life now, I'm like, man, I wished I would have done this, or I wished I would have done that. You know, I wished I would have paid attention. I wished I would have... Choices.
Yep.
There you go. Choices. And so, you being here today, and especially with what's going on in the world today, all the negativity, you, sir, are a fine example of what one can do at your age. So, again, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, I've posted on Facebook before that, usually superheroes wear capes, but mine wears sweatpants.
Awesome.
I look at him that he's my hero.
Awesome. Okay, so, Stephen, I'm just curious, for somebody that may be listening to us today, a student that hadn't quite finished school yet and is struggling with academics, can you tell us tell us what you would do, or what advice do you give them to prepare to get better and do better each day?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, mom kept getting on to me like, do you need help? I was like, no, I'm fine. But then there comes a times where we all need help. Like, we can't do everything by ourselves. I mean, I am trying to prove a little bit of my independence, but we can't be independent all the time.
Right.
I mean, we gotta ask for help sometimes. So don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
Thank you for pointing that out. That is, I think, the number one. I just remember being in school, being afraid to speak up and say that I needed help.
Yeah.
I was ashamed to. And when the teacher would ask, do you understand the class, I would be afraid to say I don't understand, So very good, Stephen. I appreciate you pointing that out. What are some other pointers that you have for someone that's listening?
Do your best. I mean, I know you want to have spend the rest of the time with your friends before you got to go to college, but you got to have the balance like I did. I mean, like I mentioned before, I was happy both academically and socially. So, but then I had more luck when I got to work with my friends in projects, and they were really good academically. So, just have that work-life balance as I would call it for high school and college.
That's good. That's good. So what did you enjoy most about school, Stephen, when you were there?
Well, like making my academic dream come true. Like I had always wanted to get straight A's, and then before I got to high school, I just kept falling just short. I had just an 89, which is a high B, 89, 89, 89, until one day, at the end of ninth grade, first semester actually, that I looked on my report card and I had all A's.
Mm-hmm.
Finally.
Awesome. I know some students will be like, that 89, that's a B. That's better than a C, or that's better than an F. I mean, I was in that circle of friends. That was, hey, that's better than, but yeah, that A was always shining. Mm-hmm. So what's the thing that you didn't like about school the most?
Getting up early.
Okay. All right. Is that because you stayed up late at night or what?
No. I was just getting up at 5:30 in the morning to get ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I think back to school, getting up early, that was like, I don't know. That didn't bother me for some reason. I don't know. How about you, Deshan?
I don't even know what time I would get up whenever I was in school. It was just whatever time my parents would have me to get up. But, I would have him to get up extra early because I would literally cook breakfast. It wasn't just, a bowl of cereal or anything. I would cook breakfast. So, I wanted him to start his day off right with like somewhat of a balanced breakfast.
Yeah.
Because, you got to get that fuel in you to be able to push through that day.
Yeah.
So, he would have to get up early because of me fixing breakfast. And I don't like leaving dirty dishes behind. So I had to clean the kitchen. And, I had to get to work, early because I was his transportation. I was his bus. So he had to get up a little bit early so I can get to work on time. That time frame is different from what time, students can actually get on campus. But, yeah, so he did have to get up extra early.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Stephen, what was your favorite subject in school?
It was always history and ELA.
Mm-hmm.
What's ELA? I'm sorry, I'm slow.
English Language Arts.
Okay. See, I've been out of school for a while. All right. So, why were those your favorite subjects?
Well, it was actually my mom that started teaching me my ABCs.
Okay.
and then history. Yeah, I was always a history guy, which started in 5th grade when I transferred back to elementary, Westbound Elementary School. So that started my history, and that continued to middle school, and then high school, and then college, which is where I am right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you said ELA, English Language Arts, I do believe I saw somewhere on social media that you had the same English teacher, I think, for 3 years in a row?
4
years in a row. How did that happen?
Blessings upon blessings.
Yep.
But yeah, she was his English teacher in 9th grade year, and whenever Connect was opened up, she decided to move over to Connect, and once she did that, she taught English for 9th through 12th graders. So he was very fortunate to have her. She is a phenomenal teacher.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen, I don't want to get you in trouble with any of your teachers, but was she your favorite? And you don't have to answer that. I mean, if you think you're gonna offend the teacher, okay.
One of them.
You want to give a shout out to your favorite teachers in case they're listening or watching us today?
Spicer, Ms. Register, Miss Barnes, Miss Roseberry. Hey guys, thank you for everything that you've done for me. Just a big thank you.
All right. Now, one of the questions I had for you, Stephen, was playing sports. But now that I know that scoliosis was a factor in your life, I'm sure you were not able to do that. Were there, if you didn't have that problem, would you be interested in athletics as a student?
Well, I did do some athletics. I ran cross country for 2 years, 6th, and took a break from 7th, and then 8th grade I got back into it as a one last ride through middle school. Let's go out with a bang. And I would have regretted not giving it one more chance because I actually met some of my friends through cross country.
Oh, okay.
So he played basketball with Parks and Recreation and Upward whenever he was younger. But one of the things that the doctor had said was he has to be very careful about falling, having that unexpected fall. But just keep him active, and kind of a cushion between that was just running cross country.
Okay.
And just, getting that activity in. But he played in marching band, so that had an avenue of an outlet for him.
Yeah, I was going to ask, if not sports, what about the arts? Anything about that? Okay. Marching band. What instrument do you play?
I play percussion. I've been a drummer for practically all my life. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know, man. Your uncle, I used to play with your uncle in a band. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
David, your Uncle David, as a drummer?
Oh, okay. No, didn't know that.
Nope.
Yeah, I played with him. For a short period of time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he started his drumming experience with pots and pans and spoons.
Yeah. How good are you? Stephen?
I haven't played for
Yeah.
quite some time, so
Yeah.
I think I still got some.
Okay. Are you interested in any other instruments?
No.
No? So what's your favorite sport? If you're not able to play and you watch by TV, what's your favorite?
Football, basketball, baseball,
NASCAR.
NASCAR.
Okay.
A little bit of all the sports.
Yeah,
All right.
except for golf.
Right.
Except for golf, yeah. And you live in a golf community.
Yep.
Shame on you.
Golf.
No, I'm
golf.
just playing. You don't have to.
Putt.
But.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count, Mark.
So that doesn't
It's
count.
mini golf.
All right. So, school was fun, I'm sure, to you. You had all your friends and, the friends that you had there that you were associated with and glad to see on a regular basis. And then in between, you were dealing with your academics. Did you ever feel like you just needed a break from all of that? I mean, you seem to be a man that studied very hard all the time, continuously, and even throughout summer. Is that right? You going to summer schools and stuff to get yourself ahead, I do believe. And there's
he's
nothing
in Sand
wrong
Hills
with
summer
that.
school.
Yeah.
Attending classes just to kind of get ahead.
Uh-huh.
So he had the option of getting a job or attending some Sand Hills courses during the summertime, and he decided to do the Sand Hills courses because I've always been I've never wanted him to sit and do nothing. Even in elementary, primary, middle school, during the summertime, he would always have activity books where he would continue to work and keep that mind stimulated. There wasn't downtime. But that was his choice. Even last summer I had to recover during surgery, so I was like, well, we're really not going to be able to travel, so let's get you in some Sand Hills courses. So he's above where he needs to be at this point in time, just taking advantage of those summer classes.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's wonderful. Stephen, from kindergarten to 12th grade, what was your favorite grade? What was the one that was the most special for you?
Can I say two?
Sure. Yes.
It was second grade. I actually have my Uncle D as my teacher, and then I had more friends, and then one of them actually knows one of my cousins, Aaliyah. Hey, Aaliyah.
Hey, Aaliyah.
So, and then 8th grade, that was the fun year. Science. I actually had one of my friends' mother as a science teacher, and she was my favorite science teacher of all time. So, hey, Miss Belmore.
Hey, Miss Belmore.
And then basketball. That was a fun year. That was a fun year in middle school.
Okay. Now, let me ask this question first. Being that. No, I need to ask this. Were you two ever on the same campus at the same time? Like,
It was at my son and myself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Student and
that was the best time for me because, I was able to see him during the day. It may have just been a pass in the hallway just to put my eyes on him, just to see him. But yes, kindergarten through second grade, we were on the same campus.
It was kindergarten through first grade, because in second grade, that's when I went to West Pine for the first time.
Well, you were in second grade at Aberdeen for a little while, and then I transferred you to West Pine. That's where you had Uncle D. So just part of the second grade year. And then, so he went to West Pine, and we were fortunate that his uncle was his teacher, and that was an awesome experience. And I feel that really built on his self-esteem. But so that was really the only time. And then whenever he went to Aberdeen Elementary School, he would come with me to school, catch the bus, and go over to the other opposite school, and come back. So, but yeah, we've been on the same campus at the same time. Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, Stephen, did any of your friends ever give you a hard time about that? Like mom being on campus with you, or Uncle D being a teacher on campus with you, and you being related? Did any of them ever give you a hard time about that?
Well, actually, two of them actually know. Three of them, like four of them actually know me. So, so basically, thanks to them, that's why we're probably still friends to this day. Because like I said, over 10 years of friendship. Yeah.
And I became known as, oh, you're Steven's mom. While I was on campus, I was.
Yep. I got to give credit.
Mom.
Yeah, I have to give credit to mom for one of them. So.
Yeah. All right. Now, Deshaun, let's talk about you a little bit. You've been an educator for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So I'm thankful for my dad, my parents, but I started out as a teacher assistant. So I went to school at nighttime. That was kind of like whenever the satellite program kind of really started. I'm old, but so they had school during nighttime, and part of it was hybrid. Part was on campus, another part was online. So that was kind of like when it kind of started, I guess you can say. I like to say I'm older than Google whenever I talk to my kids at Pinecrest, but
right. I'm gonna give you a house applause. I like that. Older than Google.
So yeah, I was a teacher assistant during the daytime and went to school at night, and I had a part-time job. I worked at what used to be called Freeman's Jewelers. They're now, I think they're all closed at this point in time. Whenever I was doing that, I was going to become a manager of Freeman's Jewelers, and I'm thankful I didn't do that because I think all of them are closed down. But so I'm just thankful that my path did not change. So I was teacher assistant during the day, and I started that when I was like 19 or 18, somewhere along in there. And I'm fortunate to be able to sit here and say I finished my degree, got my bachelor's degree, and started teaching right away in 1998 when I started teaching my first kindergarten class, and went to Aberdeen Primary School and taught first grade for many moons. While Stephen was, right before he got to kindergarten, I actually was going to school to become an administrator, and was going to school at nighttime. But that was close during the time frame when he was diagnosed with autism, and because of mama being in and out the house so much, it was causing a lot of behavioral issues. So, and he was little. It was before he was in kindergarten. So, I finished the class and took a year out of school just so that I could work with him to ensure that he was, good, is basically what I could say. And when I went back to school, it was to become a media specialist. And all of that was online, so I didn't have to be in and out of the house. So whenever I would have my laptop out, I gave him my old laptop, and he would have a laptop out playing little educational games online, and Mom was doing work. And that was how I was able to, continue on basically working with him while I was doing my work. And it wasn't where it impeded on his educational growth or even like behavior, because with autism, it's a lot of change, and you're really going to see a lot of the behaviors really show. But yeah, 2025 I will have my 30 years in for education, and I'm ready.
Wow, that is beautiful, and thank you for all that you do. If I understand correctly, there is a shortage of educators.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that, Miss Jackson?
It's hard. That's the best way I could really say it. It's hard. You're working with various students with various backgrounds, various teachings from home, and there's only so much that you can be taught within a classroom, and it's hard. I'm just going to leave it like that.
What can we do to improve it for educators and not lose any more teachers right now? What can we do
to increase that pay?
Increase the pay.
Increase the pay.
Okay.
So a lot of individuals think, okay, well, teachers, you got your summertime off. You get summer off, but what they don't understand is that we don't get paid during that summertime. In order to get that paycheck during those 2 months that we do have off, you have to sacrifice those 10 months that you are working and pull part of that income out, put to the side so that you can have a paycheck for June and July. Yes, we have the holidays off, but there's a lot of sacrifice that comes through educators, and we purchase a lot of items for classrooms out of our own pockets, and food. I still do that today with students, and they'll come and they call me Mama Barnes is what they call me, and I have stash of food and I'm hungry. Go through the cabinet, where I keep my stash. Just go get you what you need, and they'll take one and be like, "Can I get another one, honey? Get whatever it is that you need." It's a lot of hats that educators have to wear. A lot of hats. It's not just educating. It's also being that nurse for that few moments of time, that parent, that guidance counselor. We don't have the background to do all of what we do, but educators are there because they love it. They're not there for the pay.
Right. What message do you have for parents or those that maybe make it not so pleasant for teachers in the school system?
Know your child. I can look at my son and look at his eyes and say, okay, something's happened. What's wrong? Or like I was talking to my mom yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? We weren't on my time runs together. But was talking to her, and Stephen was in the opposite room, and I was telling him exactly what he was doing. And my mom leaned back and said, "How did you know?" I was like, "I know my kid." So he walks past me, and he's behind me, and I'm talking to my mom, and I was like, "Stephen, I don't need you stopping and turning in circles. I need you to go one of those steps." And Mama was like, "How did you know you're not facing him?" I'm like, "I know my kid." Sit and talk with them. Get an understanding of what's going on, and don't always give them that crutch. You have to have that moment in time of, okay, this is what's really happening. I need to work with my child. I need to make sure I'm providing that support. But always be there for your kids, of course. But, listen and get the full story of what could be happening.
That's very good.
And, just watch for the signs. And I'll never forget when he was in, it was either second or third grade, and, he would come home and he had been playing in his hair and would have all these twists and different things going on. And I'm like, buddy, we're not doing twists. You can do that whenever you get, older. Whenever you move out, you can do whatever you want to. But we're not doing twists. But that was his form of communicating with me, Mama. Something's not right. And, just as soon as I transferred him out of the classroom and took him to another school, because he kind of bounced around, because I had to watch for those signs. Something's not quite right. And, whenever I switched to school, then that playing in the hair stopped. You just have to learn your kids and watch their friends. And like he was saying, the friends will push you. The friends can push you either do the right thing or the wrong thing. And, that peer pressure is a real thing. You just have to find ways of saying no and mean it and walk away, and establishing that friendship that's truly going to be good peer pressure and push in the right direction.
That's good.
I don't know if I answered that question. Did I answer
Yeah,
your
you
question?
did. You did. Yes. You brought back a memory. I totally forgot this until you mentioned it. You worked at Friedman Jewelers, and I worked next door at Pick and Pay Shoes.
You know what?
That was back in 1995.
Yep.
Ooh, I remember that now.
At Pinecrest Plaza.
At Pinecrest Plaza.
You got it.
Southern Pines, North Carolina. Wow. I had just moved back to the area, and that job just kind of fell in my lap. And,
I forgot about that.
Wow. Yeah, that was some time ago.
Yep.
Affirmative action. Just recently, our Supreme Court has made some changes to affirmative action. Affirmative action, if you don't know, is a policy or a set of procedures that aims to improve the... I can't read my writing again. It aims to improve the education or employment opportunities of certain demographic groups that have been historically discriminated against or underrepresented in society in the area of race, gender, ethnicity, disability, or a characteristic. And most recently, the Supreme Court ruled that race-conscious admissions policies, such as that happens on the campus of Harvard University and UNC, the UNC schools, or Chapel Hill, come to an end. A lot of people are outraged by this. Now, I'm going to say this, and we don't have a lot of time. We're going to talk about this, Deshaun. All right. So in 1986, at Pinecrest High School, for some reason, I was elected to go to a Project Uplift, which was on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. And that was to encourage more black students into coming to Chapel Hill. Like I said, I don't know how I got selected because of the group of students that went with me that year. They were super smart, and I didn't feel like I qualified. But I didn't pay any attention to that at that particular time. I went. I enjoyed myself. I'm friends with one of the people that I met there on that campus at my junior year in high school, and I'm going to shout that person out. That is Miss Carla Bridges, who is the mother of Leaky Black, who played for UNC Chapel Hill and is now a Charlotte Hornet. I'm going to give a shout out to you guys. But looking back on that, I was like, wow, I look at so many other students that I feel like should have had my spot. Even though I was blessed for that opportunity, I think so many others beside myself qualified. Like I said, some people are outraged that the Supreme Court has decided to change this. But what do you think about this, Deshan, being an educator yourself?
We're going in reverse.
We're going in reverse?
Going in reverse.
Okay. How so?
So we need to be moving forward and making things better for all populations and for all races. And there's different things that have been coming down the pipeline that's been reversed and taken away. And I feel that we're just going in reverse. We need to move forward, learn from the past and move forward.
Yeah, I this is my belief on this. If we work hard, as like your son, he's a great example, and study and just put yourself, in position to know what you need to know, to gain knowledge, to just be a well-rounded person in this country. Just put forth the effort to do it. And then if somebody still doesn't want you to be there, start your own, do your own, make things happen for yourself. Just don't look at that so strongly. Just make your way for you. That's just my idea.
You have to apply that dedication.
Yeah. Stephen, we are almost at the close of our show. I want to find out some other things about you, young man. What are some of your favorite things to do? I know you like to travel because I've seen on social media you've been everywhere. I was like, man, I wish I could go where he's gone. But tell us some more about the things you like to do.
Well, I do like to read books. I like to play video games. Yeah, that's basically downtime when I'm not hard at work or sometimes maybe even hang out with friends whenever I can. Just whatever I can do to keep myself entertained. That's basically me.
Okay, sounds good. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
All right. What's your favorite song?
Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone.
Oh, I like that one too. All right. Now, Stephen, if you were selected as President of the United States of America, what would you do differently than what's being done now? Or how would you how would you run this country?
Making sure that everyone's not going to get everything that they wanted, but it's for the good of everyone that's going to affect, trying to communicate and be open to the ideas of your opposing party, because who knows, they might just help you benefit in the long run for being able to work with not just your own party but the other party too. And then some people from the other party might actually want to work with you, so you can't judge the entire party just because of what they think is best for the country.
Awesome. You heard it right here on Chat City with P. Ross from Oak 93.5 WRLY Raleigh. This is the end of our show. Again, thank you, Stephen Ross, for coming here and be with us today. Again, congratulations to you, sir, as
Thank you.